The following program is sponsored by Tropical Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim fram sauce with the awesome fave with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon, one and all. That empty box is a man that is in New York City right now. Will be joining us in a second, and there he is. Good timing,
There
man.
we go. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. I'll get my hand out of the camera. But this is a special St. Patrick's Day edition. And this is actually a historic occasion on the history of the Lunchbox. This is the first out-of-state live split-screen remote show. We've got Defo and Lubie back on home base in South Florida, and me live on the streets of New York City, corner of Fifth Avenue and 57th. And behind me, there's a parade. Not just a parade, possibly the most famous parade in the world, the New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade. And as you see, I'm regaled in my green shirt. I've got festive people festooned in green all around me, and they're not too drunk yet. They're not puking on the streets. Jeff Devo DeForest, how are you today?
I'm very good. Celebrations all over the place. Just completed the Walk of Life. The midway point is a briny pub, and nice gathering there. It was about 11:45, and they were packed outside, and people were just getting ready to really bust out and have a great time. So it should be a great day.
It is a great day. And funny you mentioned the briny Irish pub. That was the contest answer for this week's trivia questions. I did not realize that the briny Irish pub is 80 years old, older than you, Defo, 1945. One
That's
of the
crazy.
oldest, I guess, establishments in Broward that serves not just beer and spirits, but also food. And they have the full Irish traditional favorites, some bangers and mash, and shepherd's pie, and all the things that you expect at a Irish pub on St. Patrick's Day and every day. But and it bills itself on its website as, was it the world's like most upscale dive bar? And, have you been in there much lately, Tifo? You just walked past it.
I wouldn't say I've been a frequent visitor, but I have been there many, many times. At one time, my buddy Jersey Kyle, who you know, was a huge advocate. They were putting out these fish dishes on a special that were just absolutely incredible for the money. Always been very good on the food, light on the prices, and strong on music and festivities. So it's a tightly kind of. I mean, when you get inside, there's not a lot of elbow room if it's crowded, which it often is. But always very uplifting in terms of the spirit there. And today should be a home run for those guys.
Nice. Well, I used to go, there was a briny pub on the Los Olas riverfront, and I don't know if it's the same one or not. That one is no longer there, but I've got to make my way into the briny Irish pub in Pompano, and we might be there at some point in the future with our friend Andy Cagnetta and the Transport Advisors for another iconic food show. Any place that lasts 80 years in South Florida. It's certainly iconic. Luke, meanwhile, how are you? How was your weekend? I understand you had some eating adventures.
The weekend was great. A lot of low key hanging out, but Friday night we did go out to celebrate our 4-year wedding anniversary. Went to a place where you were last week, actually, Pasta and over in our neck of the woods. And every time we go there, it's just funny to me because the quality is really elevated. The kind of stuff they put together is elevated. The flavors are fantastic. The way that they've decorated it, they've done a really great job. And you're in the middle of a shopping center, in the middle of Margate. Like, it's the weirdest thing to go from the parking lot to into their realm. Like, they've done a really good job at hiding where they are to the point
Yeah,
where
they have these crates of wine, empty wine cases that they've stacked up around the sidewalk. So it's like it's created its own hidden alcoves. And it's yeah, it's like a hidden den in a South Florida strip mall where after your meal, and if you have a nice dessert, you could just go right to the Asian massage parlor and get yourself a.
Robert Kraft.
Uh, And I also, I took Val there for her birthday last week. So both of us have been there last week. And we both had the same thing. I guess we had that scallop with that pumpkin puree. And how
Yes.
good was that, Lucy?
Fantastic. That's what's really cool about what they do is, first of all, polenta's a dish I never was a fan of. I just never been there. They do it. They do like 4 or 5 different polenta dishes, and they do it so well. The pasta's done extremely well. They do. They'll have wild boar. They have rabbit. Like they have a lot more than the northern Italy dishes. So it's not like, what's cool about it is we do with a lot of great Italian places. They're not like any place that I would normally go to. They're just totally different, and they do a really good job. We really enjoy
Yeah,
it.
they do a nice job. There's so many good quality Italian restaurants in South Florida. And, it's funny. I went to an old school Italian place in Coney Island the other day. It's been there since 1907. It's called Bartulo's. It holds a lot of good memories for me and my family. Family used to go there for some celebrations. I had a surprise 50th anniversary party with my parents there a while back. And place is still going strong. But not all the food was as great as I remember it. And, we had like a fish dish that they kind of overcooked. I didn't send it back, people, and it's just like a great place because they have the waiters are clad in tuxedos and the service is so great. It's one of those places where if you order something that's you're sharing everything amongst the table, they'll divide it out, portion it out for you at the table. They go around and it's just very elegant. And but the bottom line is there's just as good as Italian food in South Florida as New York. It's again going back to my mention that nostalgia makes everything taste better. But down there, of course, we've got Casa D'Angelo, our great sponsor. We've got Pasta, and you've got your favorites, and don't even sleep on the Sunday gravy. It's just that's pretty good. Uh, what was your weekend like, FIFO? Did you do any gallivanting, or do you have the favorite apparently on Saturday? The second favorite?
I had a great time. It was a beautiful weekend. Spent a couple of days at the beach. Did a little gambling, and my new obsession addiction. You're gonna love this, Mayo man. I had an obsession to once again get involved in a mapu tofu.
Oh,
Which, I'll say this: I tend to agree with the Let's Eat South Florida person. I know I was touting the Dragon Tea House as my new go-to place there because it's closest to where I'm at. That I can count on at least reasonably decent quality and a nice clean kitchen and everything. And the fried rice is ordinary there, but they do a good job on this tricky dish, a mapu tofu, which I've had at different places, not always to my liking, but it was very good, spicy. The whole thing about eating tofu seems a little, outrageous to think that you were once a big time steak eater, but very tasty. I think you would like the dish, Mike Mayo, but you were likely to go to your grave without trying one.
no. So here's the thing, and prepare to be shocked, Defo, because I went to a restaurant. It was a friends and family opening. I will reveal the name in a second, but one of the people that was in our party, this was Friday night before we went to New York on Saturday morning. It's actually the new Juan's Mandarin House, Christina Juan. Actually, she was there. It was great to see her. She's looking
Oh,
great.
nice.
And she is actually doing well and is in the middle of some treatment. She was forced to retire a little bit, abruptly and before she maybe wanted to because of a health situation. And at first she thought Christina Juan's was going to be closing for good, and which would be a real shame because her grandfather actually came to America from Hong Kong and opened a Chinese restaurant called Juan's in downtown Miami. This was in 1966, the year I was born. Then her father opened and kind of moved the restaurant in Hollywood on I'm sorry, Sheridan Street. It was there. And then Christina opened her own place on Hollywood Boulevard and then moved that to the current location in Fort Lauderdale on Federal Highway in 2005. So it's been 20 years in that location and a lot of regulars, a lot of neighborhood people that love it. And Val and I among them. But when she closed, it was very abrupt because of her health situation. And then, lo and behold, who steps into the breach after some cajoling by Christina, and also me under the radar. Alex Cook, who is her nephew, who has been involved in the restaurant hospitality business for a while with his Temple Street Eatery. But he agreed to take it over along with Christina's daughter. And now the two
Oh,
of them
nice.
are relaunching it. They've redone the interior. It looks beautiful in there. Friday night, they opened their friends and family. I was actually the first one in the door for friends and family. Imagine that, 6 p.m. And Alex, and great to see Christina. But the group I was with, it was a vegetarian, and we got one of the tofu dishes, and it was a tofu in black bean sauce. It wasn't the mapu, how do you pronounce it, Tito?
Mapu,
Ma, ma,
M-A-P-U, 2 different words.
okay. So this was another tofu dish in a black bean sauce. And it was that high quality agagishu tofu that's very silken, but the way they cooked it, it has that crispy, crunchy interior, but it's soft and gelatinous on the inside. And the sauce was great. I was devouring the tofu, and it was just a complete upset. It was great. All the food was great. I'm so happy for Alex. He looked like, he's like somebody who becomes a first time father. He had that mix of like such pride, but also sheer terror. Because I said, "How are you feeling?" He goes, "I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm terrified." He, was doing friends and family over the past few days, and he wanted to have an under the radar soft opening for a few weeks. They're kind of being open to the public on this Wednesday, the 19th. Again, the same old location, but instead of being called Christina Juan's, it's now going to be called just Juan's Mandarin House. Same classic Cantonese, old school Chinese type. They bring the big bowl of crunchy noodles out with the duck sauce and the hot mustard. You're going to love it. If I know I took you to a place last year that wasn't maybe up to your usual standard. These guys look like, Alex knows what he's doing from the get-go, and a lot of the same staff, kitchen staff, front of the house staff, servers. So it really feels like not really a new restaurant, but a continuation and a new chapter of a really well-regarded old one. Of course, we're going to get in there to do a lunchbox toasting. Alex said he'd be pleased to have us in there. And of course, somebody let the cat out of the bag on Let's Eat. I wasn't admitting over the weekend. Alex told me to kind of keep it on the radar. He didn't want to have 200,000 people show up on the first day. But somebody approved the post that's saying, "Hey, it's coming back," and just give him a little bit of a chance, because he did want like a few weeks. Kind of, there's always kinks, and but welcome back into the fold in South Florida, Juan's Mandarin House. And
Nice.
Defo, I'm gonna have to take you. We'll be there for a little mapo tofu, along with classic ribs, and they have some really good noodle dishes. I'm really I'm excited and happy for Alex, and again, continue to wish Christina the best. And she does look great, and her treatments
Nice.
be effective. So that's all. Is it time for our first break? I have no
Yes.
watch on my thing now, so
Let's take our
I'll
first
tell you
break.
what, and then we'll talk more Irish stuff, and also me versus Ozempic, and I'm winning. I got to tell you. It's been a weekend of eating, and I'm even surprising myself. It's amazing what happens when, I'm breaking through all the brain receptors that are telling me not to eat and ignore food noise. I've got nothing but food noise the last couple of days here in New York, but we'll get into more of that after this words on the Lunchbox Split Edition South Florida and the first edition out of state, me on the streets of New York. I got to just show you one thing here as I turn around. There's these dump trucks behind me that blocking 57th Street because, the new reality is they taking security measures and making sure drive right up to the parade room. So they block the streets. And then this way you have everybody safe and secure. And I've got all the nice buildings, the fancy stores and Fifth Avenue behind me. Is that the Louis Vuitton? It's like decked out like a Louis Vuitton
Yeah, you can see it.
luggage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. So always amazing sights and sounds in New York. We'll be back with more on Lunchbox after these videos on St.
For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m., indoor, outdoor, private dining. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima. For reservations and information, go to Taverna.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligan's, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the lunch.
All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. Can you hear me? Is everything good?
Yes, you sound good. Yep.
That's great. All right, I got to show you something. There's a new pastime in New York. When you come here, it used to be, just like taking a walk. You got to avoid certain unsavories. Now, when you're walking here on the streets of New York, the most important thing is you got to avoid being run over by these guys. These are the bicyclists and mopedists that deliver food for like DoorDash and Uber Eats. They're all over the place, and they're like, they come out of the woodwork at every angle. On every street, they go up the wrong way. It's funny now watching the parade route because Fifth Avenue is blocked off, and like they're trying to deliver their food orders across town, like on Madison Avenue, and they're just flummoxed because they block off Fifth Avenue for like 20 minutes at a time, and then there's a little gap, and they let all the pedestrians cross. So they're just stuck here, and everybody's food and lunch is getting cold. So it's kind of crazy. Actually, I saw in Brooklyn the other day, one guy, they just dart around traffic and they try to weave. And I saw one get hit. Now, it was a low-speed vehicle, and he just got knocked off on its side. And I don't know, in Florida, there's people who try to make a living. He would have just stayed down and tried to get his $10,000. But on the streets of Brooklyn, the bicyclist who was delivering for DoorDash, he just got up and just started motoring. So resilient, hardy breed. They're like hockey players, Defo. Very impressive. So, we are here again on the streets of New York. I don't know whether I should go to an Irish bar and raise a pint for the second half of the show, because there's a famous one right down the block on 7th Avenue called PJ Carney's, where they have a burger and fries special for $9.95. but I'm trying to
Jesus.
eat healthier now. So, but PJ Carney's was actually the site where I went to watch Game 6 of the '86 Mets Red Sox World Series. I was seeing actually a concert that night, and when the concert let out, me and my brother went straight to Carney's, and we actually saw the whole miracle comeback unfold. So I had a very soft spot in my heart for PJ Carney's. Might have to go get a pint of Guinness there, perhaps after the show. All right, let's talk a little bit about St. Patrick's Day in South Florida. Obviously, you've got the Briny in Pompano Beach. You've got the Field, which is on Griffin Road in that's in, I guess, technically Dania Beach now, and they have massive tents set up there. And then on 17th Street, you have the place that is called Waxy's. It used to be known as Waxy O'Connor's.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I feel like
everybody.
a brewery, like I feel like breweries would be a good place to do a St. Patrick. Like, I know you go to a bunch of different breweries. Is that like a thing that breweries take advantage of? Because I know in
Yeah,
college, every place it goes freaking insane. Like your daughter is going to be having the time of her freaking life today up in Tallahassee.
well, she's not back there yet. She was driving back from spring break, and she got felled by a stomach bug over the weekend. So instead of driving back yesterday in time for her classes today, she got a late start. She's on the road right now.
She's missing her
So
first day. Ooh, she's missing her
yeah,
first
and
St. Patrick's Day, Tallahassee. That is the best holiday at FSU. Oh my God. We would drink literally. There was a place called Floyd's where you could get Band-Aid for $5 and you could go in and out all day and just drink all day. So people would literally go to class with whiskey, with beer in class, and the professors didn't even say anything. And
oh
you would
wow.
go in all day getting annihilated. Oh my God, that's the greatest holiday at FSU. That's so funny. She's missing her first year.
Well, she'll be back in Tallahassee probably by 5 o'clock, and knowing her, probably
She'll be
she'll be rounded up by some friends, and they'll say, "Oh, come on, you got to go." So I don't know. She was definitely on the injured list over the weekend, but if you're saying it's a big party night in Tallahassee, she might be part of
she'll
it.
make her way.
Uh, Before I get into all the New York adventures, let me just give an update on the contest because it was an eventful contest week. It was a kind of complicated one, thanks to Jim Sarney, who said, do the Players' Championship as the tiebreaker this week. And I figured, we're going to be getting into the NCAA tournament in the next couple of weeks. So I took his advice. But how about this on St. Patrick's Day? An Irishman, Rory McIlroy, ends up winning the playoff after the guy that he was in the playoff with, who I completely don't even know his name. Did you watch it? He rinsed the ball in the 17th, like we were talking about on Friday. How about that for some drama, Defo?
Very sad development for a very close friend of mine who I don't know how he came up with this. Because in a million years, you could have given me 8 million to 1. I couldn't have told you that JJ Spawn was even in the field.
Yeah.
So the guy kind of gets lucky late to come back into a tying position with Rory McIlroy, who caved in a little bit, and that has been one of his characteristics that people have put the knock on him. If there is a knock on a guy that wins 28 tournaments, has multiple majors, and now 2 Tournament Players Championships. But he had JJ Spawn at I thought the odds should have been much higher,
100. Yeah.
51 to 1.
Okay.
So he had $10 on it. He was going to make $510 if Spawn won.
Ugh,
And unfortunately, got to the 17th hole on the playoff this morning.
right.
And boom, 1 bounce into the
Boom.
drink.
Rinse. Overshot the green. It must have been a little bit dry and windy today for him to overshoot that green. Most people just kind of put it right into the thick of it, but boom, he overshot that thing,
Well,
and he
I mean,
turned.
they put the hole. I mean, the whole position, pin position, but was like on the wood that was part of the seawall. So I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, if you want to get
Yeah,
it
it
close,
was a little nasty, but
yeah,
again, you got to be smart and play it to the fat of the green, and then
it's on the
just take your
bulkhead.
2 putt. Yeah, and but it was. Meanwhile, let's give some props to our man Tony Segreto. He nailed Rory
Yeah,
McIlroy when you pinned him last week for a winner, and you were coming up with what?
No,
Sydney
that was
Strecker, what
a
was it?
choice of 3. Like, who would you
Oh,
take
okay,
between Scheffler and
right,
Morikawa and
all right.
McIlroy's? He came up with that. He wouldn't go on the limb, Segreto. I mean, with all due respect, we love him. He's a gentleman, an iconic broadcaster, but he hedged. Lubie, do you remember when we said, "Hey, so you're picking McIlroy to win the thing?" He said, "Oh no, 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 no."
no, yeah, he
Well,
didn't.
We can't give
what
him
would
credit.
what were
He hedged on a
McElroy's
mind bet.
You did.
what were McElroy's opening odds like last
8 to
Wednesday?
1. He was 8 to
8 to
1 second
1.
choice.
That's
Yeah.
a healthy return on a
Yourself.
winner that seemed pretty logical. He was in good form. So
Yeah.
so that was good. All right. But meanwhile, okay, so the contest, we have a three-way tie even after the first three legs of the
Oh,
contest.
jeez.
And I wasn't going to sit around with my little fentanyl slips on the streets of New York. We're going to do the final tiebreaker, three-way shake out of a hat tomorrow. We're going to be
Okay.
coming to you live, the three of
Taco
us, with Mark Falsetto from Taco Craft in Lauderdale by the Sea, post St. Patty's Day, but still spring break in full flight.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun
What
time
better way to
tomorrow.
celebrate St. Patty's Day than at a Mexican restaurant?
Yes.
That's it.
A Mexican themed restaurant.
Well, you
My
know,
friend
you
George
put
said that's the best day to go.
if you put a lime in your Modelo or your Corona,
Yeah,
that
there you
makes it a little bit green.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But yeah, we'll do the official fentanyl slip three-way shake tiebreaker tomorrow. But I will reveal the results of who's in the three-way shake. And again, it was Briny Irish Pub. The chalk ended up winning. It ended up being like in the last flash, the number one horse moving on up got favoritism, and that actually allowed a couple of others who picked horses that were scratched, because there were a bunch of scratches in the contest race, the 10th race at Gulfstream on Saturday. So if you have the number one, which is the winner, or scratch horses 2, 9, 13, 14, 15, you were eligible to then go to the tiebreaker of the golf winner. And here's the impressive part: it's like 15 people had the winner or a scratch horse to advance. And then even after that, there was like still another like 6 or 7 that had Rory McIlroy winning, and it came down to what was his number relative to par after the conclusion of the fourth round, and 3 people had the number -12 right
Oh,
on the
God.
button. So that's impressive for what I thought was going to be an impossible task of picking a winner with the final score. 3 people had Rory McIlroy at -12, and we didn't count the playoff. He ended up giving the stroke back, but it wouldn't have changed the results. We have Jeannie Jaffe and Eric Newberg, friend of the show, and
Nice.
Alexa Habe, all 3 familiar names. Alexa Habe, very impressive because she won the contest on December 15th. And I had to go to the calendar and actually count the days, because you're not allowed to re-enter or win within 90 days of winning. 91 days after her last win, she enters and is now going to be in the three-way shake tomorrow at Taco Craft. So congrats to Alexa, Eric, and Jeannie, and we'll see who emerges victorious for winning a brunch for 2 at 10 Palms. All right, even though I'm on the streets of New York, there is lots of restaurant news going on in South Florida. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Let's Eat group this weekend. I tried not to, but I did dip in and out. And certain things that I knew have been mentioned on the show, on the group. One is, the opening of Juan's that we talked about. Also, another thing opening today down in Dania Beach, the second location of Lucky Fish. You know Lucky Fish up in Pompano, that same family, I think it's the Lou Monica's family. They also operate a lot of restaurants in North Carolina. They operate the Oceanic restaurant in Pompano, and they opened a Lucky Fish in Pompano, and they built one on the south end of where Dania Pier is. It looks beautiful, two-story restaurant. They're gonna have entertainment. And have you been into the Lucky Fish in Pompano, Defo or Lubie? Anybody?
No, I've been there many times, not recently, but when it first opened up, which was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Frequent meetings there at the Lucky Fish. Great spot. They do a nice job. Kind of an uplifting vibe. It seems like kind of a young, happening vibe at Lucky Fish, although you do have a lot of old geezers like me going in there. The view at the Pompano one is fantastic because they're outside, even though Oceanic's right next door, and you can sit outside. Everything is outside. You can get a table right on the beach. And as far as I could tell, and my memory of dining there, everything I had there was very good. I mean, it wasn't going to be
That's
like
beach.
world class, but it was all very good and well presented.
Yeah, for beach cuisine, like casual. This place looks great because, again, they built a 2-story, so that second deck is overlooking the ocean. And like you said, Defo, when you get that salt ocean air coming in, it makes everything taste a little better. Even the beer.
No,
and
the
the
food. I
tequila.
mean, even blowing by the briny today, enhance exponentially the aroma, the aromatic pleasure
Yes,
blowing by a restaurant that's on the beach. I couldn't believe how good. I almost got high on the smell. It was that
that's
good.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we wish Lucky Fish well down on Dania Beach. It might be a little tricky parking because that parking lot, it serves as the beach parking lot, so it fills up rapidly early in the day during, when people, the sunbathers and ocean goers are out there. But later on, I imagine the sun worshipers go home, and 3 o'clock, hopefully the beach parking lot spots are open. But eagerly awaiting and checking the new one out. I actually had
Has the
never.
fascination ended or kind of thinned, faded, I guess you would call it if you're a gambler, with Beach House and the Oceanic? I don't
Mhm.
hear nearly as much about those two places or see as much posted about them on Let's Eat South Florida as was the case maybe a couple of years ago.
I think, when they were new and the novelty factor, the other thing is they were the only things around that were built at that time. It was just the beginning of the redevelopment of that whole Pompano Pier area. Now it seems like they built a whole other, there's a bunch of stuff that's located near the pier on East Atlantic. There's a bunch of stuff that's on some of those side streets that they built up. So I guess, like you said, as the novelty wears off, people aren't posting as much about it. Beach House, I've heard mixed things. I haven't been in there in years, but one thing I will say about it is when I was there and the times I've gone, they have one of the best restaurant key lime pies that you can find in South Florida. I mean, I say their key lime pie is even better than Joe's Stone Crab. And when it comes to restaurant key lime pie in Broward, obviously I love Melinora's at Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. The one at Burton's where we were in Plantation.
Yep.
Lubie, do you have any favorite key lime pies that come to mind at a restaurant? That,
I mean, I like
I,
maybe I'm missing.
Go ahead, Libby. What do you got?
well, no, I mean, Defo knows more than I do. I was
No,
gonna say,
no,
look,
no.
Joe's always. I didn't get to really have station. They would always bring Joe's stone crabs, and I know it was legendary, and it always backed its name. Like I really enjoyed their key lime pie.
I'm just fascinated. I'm watching people stream by me because they're going like up and down here. New York is just a cornucopia of freaks and characters and weirdos. But like within the span of 30 seconds, I saw somebody that was like fully masked and it looked like a Proud Boy, like he was getting ready to storm the Capitol. I saw somebody wearing a yarmulke. I saw somebody wearing an eye patch, and I've seen like at least
Where are you?
15,
Outside Willowbrook?
no, here's a guy like in a mohair sweater. I haven't seen a mohair sweater in a while. New York is just fantastic. It's great.
Well, maybe Geraldo will roll by.
Um,
How come I
which
don't see any street vendors?
Yeah,
'Cause
where
well,
is the
they
dirty
actually
dog?
okay, so they
where
have
can you get a hot dog?
these
I
are
want, I want
rules
a
and
dirty dog so
regulations in
bad.
place. The new beefed up security, besides having these sanitation trucks, they don't allow any of the street vendors to set
Oh
up
yeah.
within
Wow.
a block.
Oh,
The street
that's
vendors are over on 6th Avenue. Maybe toward the end of the show, instead of going to an Irish pub, I'll just go get a hot dog and have a dirty water dog for
100%.
you with a little look. Sauerkraut is cabbage, and a hot dog looks like corned beef, so it's kind of like a corned beef and cabbage type of
There
thing.
you
I
go.
might be doing that when we go to the last thing. But meanwhile, we got bagpipers coming past. I'm just thrilled to be out here. I'm out of my mind today. Uh, the other thing that makes me out of my mind, Defo, is it's green. It says go, but this I
Ah,
got in a well, let's just call it. Yeah, it's a dispensary. It's New York City and New York State as a whole is in the 21st century as opposed to Florida and some of the southern states. Full recreational marijuana is legal in this state. So
Nice.
after having a beautiful dim sum brunch yesterday with a bunch of my old college friends, nice group of 8 of us got together, some of my buddies and wives and assorted girlfriends. We went to a place, but right across the street was a place called, has the name The Travel Agency. I thought I was going to book a ticket to Morocco, but instead I got the Marrakesh Express. But this in here is Little Magic chocolate covered espresso beans. I did not take one before the show because I wanted to still have my wits about me. But basically, you get these little like 5 milligram hits of chocolate covered espresso beans. And all you got to do is just show a driver's license, and you don't have to register or go see some
they have like a
quack
wider
doctor.
variety. They have like a
Oh, they
wider
have a good
variety.
variety. No, it was similar to the South Florida medical dispensaries. Yeah, they did actually have more in the way of edibles and products and all kinds of things. But it's just such an, I mean, it's so weird. I felt bad walking through Washington Square Park the other day, Defo, because you got all these forlorn-looking guys looking to sell you, dime bags and joints, and it's like nobody wants that. Or it's like, you know, why do you need that when you could actually get something that's regulated as opposed to you don't know the quality? Although I imagine you might like rolling the dice occasionally and saying, "All right, if it's a little bit cheaper."
But it's
But
not though, isn't it cheaper in the dispensary? That's the problem for the
no,
for
the
the
one,
street dealer. Like I went with my cousin in Tampa, and I don't have it, but I was allowed with him, and he like they had this deal and that deal, and buy one get one, and I'm like, my dude back in the day never gave me buy one get one.
right? The
You could
dispensaries
never
is
use points with Pedro,
Exactly,
right.
exactly.
the Colombian
No,
wild man that he was.
Your
no,
car.
the medical dispensary is what I found in South Florida. It is very uh competitive, and they are giving like if you come in first time newcomer, 50% off bonus, BOGOs, this and that. But
You get two
in
free bets at Santa Anita, the place I go to.
that too.
Great. They
Uh,
give you a voucher.
yeah,
And
but
it's great. That's the best part. You don't have to go to Ron DeSantis' nephew and get medical approval, where he says that you have psychological problems, so you can
yeah,
buy
no,
the license for
yeah,
$140 every 7
yeah.
months.
Yes, that is kind of another revenue stream there. But here it is a little bit more expensive because recreationally they impose taxes on it and other kind of surcharge. So it was much more expensive than the dispensaries here. And I imagine you can get it on the street. That's a little bit. Oh, look, I got the Daily Show. This is Michael Costa's here. It looks like. Didn't you interview him on your show?
Hey, we've had him. He's great. He's doing a
Yeah,
tour.
and
He wrote a book.
he's doing stuff. He's spraying himself with some sort of bug spray. Maybe it's bear stick.
That's
But yeah, that looks like it. It's funny. You never know who you're going to meet. There's a whole crew from it looks like the Daily Show crew is out here taping some stuff. And uh, where was that? Oh yeah, medical dispensary. So it looks like the recreational here, it is priced a little bit higher. Like this little tin of 100 milligrams of in edible form. In South Florida, I could get some for like $12 to $20 range. They charged me, it was $35 plus tax. It ended up being a total of like $41 when it was all told yesterday.
Well, you're in New
So
York.
yeah, and I'm in New York, so that's it.
Taxes are.
Is it time for our second break yet,
It
Luby?
is. It is. It is.
It is. And then I'm going to get into some more openings in restaurant news in South Florida. And then I will talk about how I conquered Ozempic. But I'm still going to the gym, and I walked 16,000 steps yesterday. So
You're gonna walk.
I'm trying to maintain, but it has been a caloric bloodbath up here. But we'll be back with more from New York, the St. Patrick's Day behind me, St. Patrick's Day Parade, world famous, right behind me on Fifth Avenue. We'll be back with more after these bits.
When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa d'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First class dining, top flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner, reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa d'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, It's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open face smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the lunch. Hey, it's Mayo here for Prezzo Italian Restaurants. 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days, featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information, go to eatprezzo.com.
All right. We're back. Can you hear me, everybody? Because I got a
Yes,
phone call in
yes,
the middle
yes.
that cut me out. I didn't know if I reconnected, but we're on the streets of New York, 7th
You're
Avenue.
good.
I'm sorry, 5th Avenue, 57th Street. St. Patty's Day parade behind me. Starts at 11 a.m., goes to 4:30. That's a lot of Irishmen and women. And, it's a very egalitarian parade. They have marching bands from all over the world, from schools, from churches, and then they have Grand Marshal. They kicked it off. They have from every county in Ireland is represented in this parade, including County Mayo, where I just learned that Val's relatives are actually from County Mayo. Well, how about that? But let's get back to some of the news and happenings in South Florida. It seems like, everybody was moaning last year, oh, all these restaurants are closing and blah, blah, blah. Well, like I said, it's the cycle of restaurant life. And now it seems like we've got nothing but restaurant openings. Congratulations to our friend Eddie Pizzoli, the
They seem to have a
official
great
brand.
week. They seem to have a great this week.
It's the official opening to the public today, March 17th, of the new Eddie and Vinny's Coastal Italian in Coral Springs. And they are, I guess, one of our sponsors because the Pizzoli Hospitality Group is the sponsor of the show. They have Corvina Seafood Restaurant up in Boca. They also have 2 Prezzo locations in Boca Raton and Palm Beach Gardens. And now, welcome to the fold, Eddie and Vinny's. They did a week of friends and family and kind of soft opening mode. Lubie, we went in there last Monday. And again, your thoughts, quick capsule review of the place.
Well, it's just fantastic. It's cool to keep getting more of what you guys have out east, out west. It's in just a shopping center in the middle of Sample Road, but the way that they decorated, the way that they put time into every aspect, the menu, the dishes, the service, it felt like an upper echelon place on the beach. Like they've done a really good job, and Shirley and I are super excited to have them here in Coral Springs.
I don't know if there's a like wounded feelings or a little bit of a tiff brewing, but did you see? I missed it last week because I wasn't even looking at the lasagna on the menu because Val can't have it because usually it has bolognese sauce, carrots. But on their menu, they have a different kind of lasagna that uses crepes. And then
Yes.
our friend Tom T kind of took note of that and put it on Facebook saying, well, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But I don't know if there's Bruce, but I haven't seen a crepe lasagna in many places. And now that Tom is only doing pop-up stuff, I say, if Eddie wants to, thought it was, maybe he tried it at one point. I don't know, but I think I'm intrigued to try it at some point. Lubie, what did you think? You missed it too, right? You didn't even notice.
I saw that the lasagna had bolognese. I didn't notice that it had crepes on it. Look, I love Tom T, and I had never heard of that before him. And the three of us all will say it's either our favorite or one of our favorite lasagnas ever, just the way he does it, because it has all the flavors of a great lasagna, but it feels lighter. And it's fantastic. But what I've learned doing the show is if you do something really well, and then other people are like, oh, that's a great idea. At least the restaurants we've dealt with take it as a pat on the back, right? Like Joe B went to the Catherine from us. Timon saw him there. Timon knew that we knew him. He then at Gulfstream 10 Palms, a very nice, very well-known restaurant, took a couple dishes from his time at the Catherine. We then told Timon the next time we saw him, and Timon's face beamed. Like he didn't take it as a slight at all. So from what I've seen, it's a pat. It's like, thank you for coming up with such a great dish. We're not going to be able to do it as well as you do it, but we're going to try it, is what I take from that.
Yeah. Hey, some other opening stage in our friend Pushkar Marath, who has stage up in Palm Beach Gardens, and he used to work down at Ghee Indian Kitchen with Niven Patel. But Pushkar opened another stage in Boca in that kind of restaurant row that's kind of a little bit west of the town center mall. It opened up, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I think they're in soft opening mode, but congrats to him. We wish Stage, not Stage. If people don't get confused, it's not Stage Deli. You're not going to find a double-decker pastrami corned beef sandwich there. It's pronounced Stage, as in when chefs apprentice in other kitchens. They call it staging. But it's really good, inspired global place. A lot of Indian flavors and all kinds of things. I highly recommend it. I look forward to getting into the local location. And this is kind of not it's a opening down the line, but it's kind of a closing. It's restaurant news that I saw also broke on the Let's Eat group, that they were kind of trying to keep it under their hat. But Dune, which is on the ocean, one of the prettiest locations for a restaurant and a beautiful build out of a restaurant. Dune, it's gone through several different kind of management and owners. The latest one was Laurent Turandot Group, famous chef from New York. Well, they are selling the restaurant, or actually leasing it, and no longer going to be operating it. So Dune will be having its last day of service on March 29th at the end of this month. And it's being taken over by this private restaurant group out of Indianapolis, one of Defo's favorite places, but they don't operate the St. Elmo's. This is another group. It's called the Cameron Mitchell Restaurant Group. And I think the Cameron Mitchell Group is going to close it, renovate it, multi-million-dollar renovation, and kind of reimagining of the place. And it's going to be rebranded, known as a Del Mar restaurant, which is one of their brands. And that they have to open, they hope to open it before the boat show in late October. So Del Mar coming to the site of Dune. Again, it's one of those places where a lot of people had uneven experiences, and I hope that they get everything aligned, because that place, is right overlooking the ocean, but it really like upscale kind of build out, and I wish them well. But the Cameron Mitchell people are also opening a new restaurant in about a month at the end of April. I didn't even know it existed, but it's a new complex that's right on the corner of Las Olas Boulevard and the Intracoastal, and it's called Las Olas Marina. And the restaurant that's opening there is called Ocean Prime, and it's kind of overlooking the Intracoastal. There might be some views of the sunset. I didn't even notice it, but you know where we went for the barbecue event for the Lauderdale Food Festival, Lubie, that kind of field in that park?
Yeah.
Well, apparently that complex, this new Las Olas Marina complex, is maybe a little bit to the south of that field. And that restaurant, that new Ocean Prime, I guess it's going to be seafood and steaks, opening at the end of April. And I guess some of the staff from Dune is going to be shifting over there in the next month. So that's South Florida restaurant news. It's a lot going on, but now we can get to the most important thing, which is me and my battle versus the hideous Gila Monster juice, also known as Ozempic. For a while there, I wasn't paying attention to food. I was hardly taking any bites, right? Were you a little bit concerned, Defo, when you saw me last week?
I figure you're going to win this one. I do want to mention a relatively new restaurant, though, that
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
apparently deserving of some attention. And that is the Cafe BVR or BVR Cafe. It's Lauderdale by the Sea. Fine gentleman who was involved with the Village Pump and those restaurants there and owns the Beachfront Villa Resorts is a guy named Dave Gatsby. Great guy. He opened this place up, I guess, with his partners or maybe by himself. They were open only for breakfast. And now they're open breakfast and lunch and apparently rave reviews for BVR Cafe.
Oh, great. Okay, so one more place to check out. Lauderdale by the Sea is always hopping, and we'll be out there tomorrow.
Small little place. It was like I don't know what it was called before. It was an establishment that was there for a long time that you never saw anybody go into, or very infrequently visited. Maybe that's one reason they went out of business or sold the place. But Dave does a great job. I mean, everything he's been involved in always is first class, and he's a great guy. Dave Gatsby, great restaurateur down here, and put this place together, and everybody loves it.
All right, I'll have to go check it out. One more adding to the list. So anyway, me versus Ozempic. My daughter said, it's funny, everybody's walking past me, and there's some of the people are very courteous and they stop and they don't realize that I have it in selfie mode. So they're it's just funny seeing everybody's reaction as they shoot past. The throngs
How come
here
I
in
don't see
Georgia.
any parade though behind you? I
You
thought
don't
you
see
said it was
it?
4 o'clock.
Yeah, no. You see it? There's
Oh, there you
people.
go.
You don't
Okay.
hear the bands. There's bagpipers. I guess you can't see it in the background there.
No,
You
I
see,
can. Yeah,
you
it's
see
pretty far
stuff
down.
happening, but you can't hear
Yeah.
anything.
Well,
Which
you
is
can't hear
nice.
anything because I'm a little bit of a distance.
That's
But
good.
if I go very close to it, then you hear nothing but bagpipes, and you wouldn't be able to hear
All
me
right.
anymore.
No,
But
it adds to
hey, you know what?
the
I'm gonna.
visual. I don't know if you want to move around too much.
We're gonna take a break, and we'll hopefully have Mike Mayo back from New York City.
Throw that
on
to
this
the break,
edition of the
Lubie. That's perfect.
Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar. A great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food and a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays. Tell them. Looking for great seafood that's a little further inland? Luke's Seafood and Grill. That's Luke's with a C. 5511 South University Drive in Davie. Luke and Roxy, they're a great couple with great food. It's a mom and pop shop bringing the freshest fish and seafood to Western Broward. Some of the best jambalaya and fish cakes around. And Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? You can find his famous Scoobies, those sauteed crab claws, right there on the specials board most days. Oh, so good. So take a trip to University just north of Sterling today. Lunch, dinner, closed on Mondays. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful restored historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the new river. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of the Science Museum. For reservations and information, go to the House on the
All right. I think we're back. Can you hear me? See me? There we go.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody called again and cut me out, but now I moved right up next to the parade. It's too bad during the break I had 2 sets of bagpipers come through. But now we've got Cardinal Spellman High School in the Bronx. I know there's a Cardinal Spellman South Florida. Their marching band. Can you hear the parade now? There's more of the acts. Yes, no. What's that?
The audio is not fantastic. It feels like it's time to call this one.
Oh, my audio is bad now? Okay.
Yeah. It's not the greatest.
All right. Not the greatest. All right. Then you know what? Let's just call today. I thought you could hear me before or no?
Yeah, you were fine before. You've now moved.
Yeah.
It's okay. We got through it.
All
Enjoy
right.
New York.
I wanted you to get the flavor. The
We can see it.
bagpipers.
Yes, we
All
can see
right.
it.
I'm moving back to my former spot. This is why you don't mess around in the middle of a live show. Oh, here's a green guy. Hey, sir, how are you today?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
What's your? Are you from New York?
I'm from originally the
The Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn. Are you a Yankee fan?
no.
Are you a Notre Dame fan? Okay. Are you enjoying St. Patty's Day? We're on a live stream podcast in South Florida. You ever go to Florida?
What's that?
You'd like going? Have you ever been to Florida?
Yes, one time, 30 years ago.
Well, how are you celebrating St. Patty's?
Patrick's Day, I get dressed up, take a lot of pictures, have a great time.
All right. Well, you enjoy yourself, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
What podcast is this?
It's called the Lunchbox. We do it in South Florida. It's about food, sports, and drinking too. So have yourself a pint.
I did already.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Some man on the street interviews. Defo, did you expect that?
I like the beard. I love the guy's beard.
Yeah, the beard is great. I love the streets of Manhattan. And tonight, I forget about what I've eaten and what I've done. We'll go into that later in the week. But Lubie, I'm very excited. You want to tell them what I scored tickets to? Because Val was like, maybe we should go to a show. And I was like, I'm not the most cultural guy. I did not drag her to the OTB parlor, Defo, and we drove by Aqueduct and the resorts casino, slots casino, but we did not go in when we first landed. But tonight, I scored some tickets, and let me tell you, you know how I was winning all that money the last couple of weeks, poker tables and horse races.
Oh, to go to a Broadway show is utterly stupid. It's utterly dumb.
I'm blowing the whole winnings in the last 3 days. It's amazing. You come to the city and could just spend thousands of dollars without even thinking about it. But no, it's like the hottest ticket on Broadway. It's not even opened officially yet. It's in previews, but it's a new all-star cast rendition revival of Glengarry Glen Ross. You're familiar with that work by David Mamet, I guess. You seen the movie, or anybody see the movie out there?
Seen a movie many times.
Alex Baldwin, classic
Yeah,
scenes,
Baldwin.
classic.
Yeah.
Anyway, they are reviving the stage production of it on Broadway with a cast that includes comedian Bill Barr,
Bill
Oscar
Burr.
winner Bill Burr.
Bill
I'm sorry, Bill Barr was the Attorney General in
Barr was the
Connecticut.
AG. Yeah, that's flip
The
flops.
espresso bean is kicking in, gentlemen.
There we
Bill
go.
Burr, of course.
Yes.
Um, Academy Award winning actor Kieran Culkin.
Yep.
Who am I
Bob
missing?
Odenkirk. Bob
Bob
Odenkirk, which is ridiculous.
Bob
He's great.
Odenkirk, who was on Better Call Saul,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
his I guess castmate on that show, Michael McKean, who was part of the
Yep.
whole group that did some of those great classic documentaries like Spinal Tap and
Documentaries. Yep.
Best in Show. Well, the four of them are apparently like the leads in Glengarry Glen Ross. I scored a ticket through StubHub. Guess how much two orchestra seats? I think we're like in the fifth row, so they're pretty good seats. 2 seats to a preview. It's officially opening March 31st on Broadway at the Palace Theater, 8 p.m. tonight. And I damn hope that all four of them are in the cast.
I was going to
considering,
say because I'm curious if you get the full cast. We
previews,
went
you
to
think they're actually, yeah. Go ahead.
we went to Wicked. It was like $180 a ticket. So I don't. But again, Wicked is like just a crazy monster that continues over and over again. So this, I don't know what you would do for a preview.
After paying all StubHub fees and the like, $680 for 2 tickets to a Broadway show. But you know what I call that? I call that the late pick 3. So that's all. I'm gonna recoup that.
That's
No problem. You know what? How many times do I come to New York these days? Maybe once a year. So again,
I get it.
it's worth
That's
it.
my wife.
And it was Val's birthday, a good time to celebrate. Oh, and beforehand, I snagged reservations to a place I've never been before, run by the famous restaurateur Danny Meyer. And one of his employees was Will Guidara, who wrote that book, Unreasonable Hospitality. That's the Bible for our friends Brandon and Kevin at Batch. But I'm going to the Gramercy Tavern, and there's 2 parts to it. There's like a fancy dining room with one of these multi-course tasting menus. I'm not doing that. We're just going to the tavern part, but it has like very kind of well-regarded menu food. It's kind of reminds me of the menu of like Michael's Genuine Food and Drink down in Miami. But I'm looking forward to going to one of the all-time classic restaurants. It's been in business here in New York for a long time, but I've never been there before. I've been to some of his other restaurants, including the Union Square Cafe, but Gramercy Tavern is on the agenda for tonight, followed by A Dose of Culture on Broadway. Guess you could call it upset. So that's it. No OTP callers in my future today. Sorry. It's going to do it. We'll be back tomorrow from Taco Craft if the JetBlue flights are all on time. If not, I'll leave you to your own devices and I'll broadcast from the plant. But now we're all set. Thanks, Lubie. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Defo, as usual. And you know what? Go into Tropical Acres tonight and celebrate a little St. Patty's. They go to the bar at 4:36. You get your happy hour. At Tropical Acres. Even though the Studiales, they're Italian today, they feel like they could be Irish too. So why not get in a little late live spot, get a little filet mignon and all kinds of prime ribs, tasty stuff. Tropical Acres. It's again a South Florida favorite for over 75 years. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right. That's going to do it from the streets of New York. We interviewed people clad in a all shamrock suit. We saw Michael Costa. We saw somebody who might have been at the Capitol on January 6th. Never a dull moment. Thanks. And until then, enjoy every hot dog, enjoy every espresso bean, and enjoy every